Break the board sports. Here we go. Week 12 college football. Click that like, hit subscribe. Going to run through some games here on this Saturday morning to help you with your handicap. First one, let's go to South Florida at Navy. Right now, line setting 10.5, over under 62.5. We got 52% of tickets, 72% of the handle on the over, 48% ticket count, 28% of the handle on the under. Now, as far as that 10.5 goes, 64% of ticket count going to South Florida and 76% of the money plus that 10.5, or laying that 10.5 rather. 36% of tickets, 24% of the handle is taking the hometown Navy midshipman in this one. Now, Navy, obviously, they run that triple option. Very, very hard to defend. You don't see it a lot throughout the year. Now, both of these teams, they're still kind of in this group of four opportunity here. South Florida 7-2 straight up, Navy 7-2 straight up. But South Florida has been so impressive. They got some key wins against some bigger opponents, Boise State, Florida. However, as the season has went on, you kind of wonder how good are those wins, because neither one of those teams very solid. But South Florida is 7-2 straight up, 7-2 ATS. Navy 7-2 straight up, and 2-7 ATS. Now, head to head, last year they played in South Florida. That was a game Navy won. And really, they've traded punches every other year. Navy 3-2 straight up the last 5 meetings with South Florida. South Florida is on a 5-1 streak over their last 6 games, and they're 7-2-1 ATS their last 10. Both of these teams have generally played to the over as of late. 6 of the last 7 for South Florida have went over the total. 4 of the last 5 for Navy have went over the total. Navy's on a 5-game win streak at home, and they're 10-2 straight up over their last 12 games overall. The thing about Navy, even though they have that great straight up streak, they're not covering spreads. They're 0-6 ATS. When you look at, again, I think time of possession, obviously a big thing. South Florida's going to have to be able to get off the field and defend that triple option. Again, really hard to prepare for that. South Florida has the 5th best ranked offense in the country. They're averaging 42 points per game. Navy, not too bad. They're averaging 32 points per game. Now, South Florida's defense, they're giving up about 24.2 points per game. Navy, 26.8. So the 10.5 spread is right on the button where it needs to be. I like Navy plus 10.5 to hang in there at home. A little bit chillier up here in the East Coast. Navy, I'm not that far away from where they play the game today. Again, chilly, windy. South Florida, they're used to a little bit more of the humidity. And again, Navy just beat them last year. I think this is a good, tight ball game. I'll take Navy plus 10.5. Next game on the board, got Pittsburgh hosting Notre Dame. This line keeps bouncing around 12.5, 13, 13.5. We'll just call it 13 in the middle for argument's sake. Notre Dame laying 13, over under 54.5. Now, 75% of ticket count, 74% of the handle is pushing this thing to go over, is the way they're looking at it. Now, when you look at the under, you got 25% of ticket count, 26% of the handle. Notre Dame laying 13, they're getting 48% of bets, but 52% of the money. Pittsburgh taking the 13, 52% of tickets, 48% of the money. So great two-way action on this game. Exactly what the books want. They want that right down the middle. Again, they make a ton of money just off of juice itself. So if they can get the game to land right down the middle, that's what they're hoping for. Now, Notre Dame 14-6 ATS their last 20. They've been incredible. They're 7-0 straight up their last 7 games, and they're 7-1 straight up against Pittsburgh the last 8 meetings. Pittsburgh, however, they're on a 5-game winning streak, and they've covered the spread all 5 matchups that they've played in their last 5 games. 4 of the last 6 times Pitt and Notre Dame have locked up, it's went over the total. Pittsburgh has went over the total 8 of their last 11 games. Both of these teams come in 7-2. However, Pittsburgh mirrors South Florida a lot. 7-2, not only straight up, but 7-2 ATS. One of the best ATS teams in college football this year. Notre Dame 4-4-1 on an ATS run. Now, they didn't play last year. They played 2023 in Notre Dame. Notre Dame smacked them 58-7. Before that, they hadn't played since 2020. Notre Dame smacked them there 45-3. Now, listen, those of you who have been listening, you guys know me. I am a diehard Notre Dame fan. That's my team through and through. I think Carr and company, best offense that we've had, especially with Love. I think we got the best backfield, probably right there with Ohio State in the country. But listen, I got to take the points here, plus 13 with Pittsburgh. Again, I think on the road, you got to respect the home team in this spot. Pittsburgh's no slouch. I think they're able to hang in there and take blows from Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame, obviously, Carr might be the best quarterback we've had in a very long time, probably since Brady Quinn. But nevertheless, I like Pittsburgh plus the 13 to cover this spread against Notre Dame. Oklahoma at Alabama, one of the better games of the day for sure, and huge implications as far as SEC is concerned. Right now, Oklahoma and Alabama, this was at 5.5, 6 all week, is now ballooned to 6.5, and I wonder if it'll touch 7. Right now, Alabama laying 6.5. Over under 45.5, 81% of ticket count, 61% of the handle to the over, 19% of ticket count, 39% of the handle to the under. 73% of tickets are laying the 6.5 with Alabama. 63% of the handle is laying it with Alabama. Now, 27% of tickets, 37% of the handle is grabbing the 6.5 with Oklahoma. And again, full disclosure, some of those are 5.5, 6s as the week has went on here. So that's just total bets here between each team. When you dive into some trends for this game, one, obviously Simpson has been playing lights out for Alabama at the quarterback position. Alabama 6-1-1 ATS their last 8. They are 8-0 straight up their last 8 games. And then their last 8 at home, they've covered the spread in each and every one of those games. Tuscaloosa, one of the toughest places in the country to play. Now, Oklahoma, they're 7-2 straight up their last 9. 5-2 ATS their last 7 on the road. And here's some you may not know. Kind of shocked me when I saw it. Oklahoma's taken 4 of the last 5 matchups against Alabama. Now, Oklahoma comes in 7-2 straight up, 4-4-1 ATS. Alabama 8-1 straight up, 6-2-1 ATS on this one. Again, they played last year in Oklahoma, a game Oklahoma won 24-3. Then got to take it back to 2018, 45-34. Bama won that in Tuscaloosa. Listen, when I look at this game, I think the biggest thing for Oklahoma is, can they keep Alabama from the big explosive plays, right? Can they keep Simpson and company and those wide receivers in check? And then Mateer, is he able to give the spark Oklahoma needs? Now, right now, Oklahoma is scoring about 28.9 points per game. Alabama almost 4 points better, 32.8 points per game for Alabama. Now, Oklahoma, one of the best defenses in the country, 7th in the country in points per game, giving up 14.1 points per game is Oklahoma. Alabama, 14th in the country, giving up 17.2 points per game. I think this is going to be a great game. When it went to 6.5 last night, I laid $1.25 and bought the half point and took Oklahoma plus 7. I think this is a thriller. Alabama, they really haven't gotten a whole lot of resistance on this win streak. They've really just kind of been marching along this thing. And I'm not saying that they've been blowing through teams, but they haven't gotten a tough test like LSU 20-9. They beat South Carolina 29-22, but they kind of sleptwalked through that game. Tennessee, Missouri, they made it closer than that game really was later at the end. Alabama really controlled that whole game. So they haven't really been tested since the 24-21 matchup with Georgia. And again, they got out big on Georgia early. So I want to see Alabama kind of have to play that tight game. Again, there was the sleepwalk game with South Carolina. But I think Oklahoma, again, Brett Venables in that defense, very, very tough, is going to pose a lot of problems for them. I like Oklahoma plus 7. I do think Alabama gets the win, but I do like Oklahoma covering this spread. Next game on the board I want to tackle, and this one is really interesting to me. East Carolina is a 3-point favorite. Now, this line's been all over the place too. 2.5, 3, 3.5. So there's some stuff across the board. Again, click that like, hit subscribe. I always talk about this. Shop for the best line. 35% of ticket count, 55% of the handle going to East Carolina. 65% of ticket count, 45% of the handle going to Memphis in this one. Now, when I look at this game, first of all, I know it almost seems like a trap having East Carolina laying the points, but check this out. East Carolina is a solid football team. They're 7-2 straight up their last 9 at home, 4-1 straight up their last 5. And East Carolina, when they've been at home head-to-head with Memphis, has won 5 of the last 6 matchups. Now, flip it over to Memphis, 8-2 ATS their last 10, 12-2 straight up their last 14. Memphis very solid. But here's the thing. East Carolina and Memphis, the last 20 games, Memphis is 4-16 ATS, 4-16. And while Memphis is 8-2 straight up and 8-2 ATS, East Carolina, not that they're right there, 6-3 straight up, 5-4 ATS. East Carolina won the last 2 matchups back in 2022, 2021. Both of those in overtime, 47-45, 30-29. And so when I look at this and I look at the splits, I got Memphis plus 3.5 earlier in the week. I think Memphis plus 3 or 3.5 is the play. I understand East Carolina's dominance, but a lot of that, it's not like they're playing every year. These teams haven't played in 3 years. I think Memphis, listen, they had their trip up already, right? Memphis was on track. They were making the college football playoff. If they could have beat Tulane, that locked it up, sealed it for them. They fell last week. I don't think they get bit 2 weeks in a row. I'll take Memphis here on the road plus 3.5 to get it done versus East Carolina. Last game I want to touch on here for the night is Wyoming at Fresno State. Now, listen, Fresno State's a 3-point favorite. They're getting 57% of tickets, 15% of the handle. A lot of pros are liking Wyoming, 43% of ticket count, 85% of the handle. Totally understand why they're jumping on that. But again, most of them are jumping on points alone. Wyoming 10-5 ATS their last 15 overall, but just 2-5 straight up their last 7. Here's the thing: Fresno State, they're 1-4 ATS their last 5 games overall, but they're 6-2 straight up their last 8. In the last 5 matchups with Wyoming, they're 4-1 ATS. And so Fresno State's played really, really well against Wyoming when these two teams have matched up. You dive in just a little bit more. Obviously, Wyoming 4-5 straight up, 5-4 ATS. Fresno State 6-3 straight up, 4-5 ATS. These two teams met last year in Wyoming. Wyoming won by 5, 24-19. 2 years ago. Before that, Fresno State had reeled off 4 in a row. I know it's a little high, minus 170, but I like Fresno State on the money line. I said during the week if I could get it under $1.80, I would lay it with Fresno State. Wyoming averaging 19.4 points per game. Fresno State, on the other hand, averaging 26.1. Wyoming's defense has been solid. They're giving up 20.2 points per game, as to where Fresno State's right there, 21.8. But I just like the fact Fresno State averages 7 more points a game, and at home compared to on the road, if you break that down even further, Fresno State about 9 points better at home than Wyoming is on the road points per game. I like Fresno State here, minus 170. Again, click that like, hit subscribe. Fresno State money line, Pittsburgh plus 13, Navy plus 10.5, Oklahoma plus the 7, Memphis plus 3.5. Break the Board Sports, where we help you become a better handicapper. God bless and happy handicapping.